So I ran across another cheap Ferrari, and this one is really, really cheap. I know you're skeptical, and I am too. And if we're being honest, none of these cars actually end up cheap, especially to the last guy standing. Hey guys, I'm Sam Crack, and I am the last guy standing. I'm always on the hunt in the damaged goods section of the auction to try and score a deal. In some cases, you can make out pretty good. But when it comes to any car bearing the Prancing Horse logo, the prices have all been figured out almost to a T. Even if a Ferrari has been crashed, neglected, or was planted to look abandoned in a barn, the prices are outrageous. When I bought my first cheap Ferrari, this Verde British Racing 360, I thought I'd scored the deal of a lifetime. At around $35,000 up front, this Ferrari costs less than the price of the average new car today, but I've been reminded weekly over the last 2 years and over 20 grand in DIY parts and repairs that in order to have a baby, you need to deal with the labor pains. As the Ferrari brand continues to strengthen, any deal to be had on one of these cars, new or old, is an anomaly. But an anomaly is exactly what I saw when I ran across the listing of this 2005 612 Scaglietti. Located in Las Vegas, Nevada, and marked as is with just a handful of photos, including this one of his check engine light and near 100,000 miles on the clock, I figured it had to sell cheap. And while I think I know what I'm getting myself into here, let's be real. This front-engine V12 Ferrari is hardly similar to my mid-engine 8-cylinder car. The big red flag here is the combination of 100,000 miles and Las Vegas. It's rare to see a Ferrari, especially one that costs nearly $300,000 new with this sort of mileage, unless it was a rental. And if it was, I could just imagine the thousands of butts that sat in this fine Italian wrap leather interior, pushing the V12 engine on a flat desert road, spilling a can of soda on the carpets, especially due to the lack of cup holders, and handing the keys back at the end of the day. This thing has to be incredibly rough, but I just can't help myself. I placed my bid and won the 612, clean title and all, for less than what I paid for my salvage 360, and when it showed up there was only one obvious flaw. The driver's door had an irregular gap. Upon closer inspection, it just seems like the striker had slipped out of place and had clearly been messed with before. This is the type of Italian craftsmanship I'm used to. An Allen wrench in a couple of minutes and the door fit flush again. After my initial look around, I found all sorts of really amazing stuff you never find on a cheap auction Ferrari, but what we're worried about here is all the stuff that does come on a cheap auction Ferrari, and there's likely to be a bit of it lurking around here. So to give myself a better shot at success with this car, I figured I'd seek professional help. I called the closest Ferrari dealer to set up an inspection and was shocked when they told me it would cost $800. I told them, okay, let me go look at my schedule. I'll call you back and let you know the first I can come in. And then my natural cheap Ferrari instincts kicked in. I couldn't start this project off with an $800 bill and consider it cheap, so I rolled up my sleeves and immediately went online to my local auto parts store and added a big battery charger to my cart, as well as a bunch of oil absorbent mat. And at checkout, Honey's dancing coin guy popped up. He's the one guy you wish you'd run into at the Ferrari dealer, especially since he just saved us $57. Honey is a free shopping tool that has been my key to saving loads of money, not just on car parts, but on almost anything and everything online. It does so by scouring the web for the best coupon codes, and it automatically applies them during checkout. Whether you're buying pizza, pants, or panel bond, Honey works on a lot of sites you probably are already shopping at, and their rewards program allows you to earn gold, which is redeemable for gift cards or cash straight to your PayPal. I've already saved up over 23,000 gold, which is good for $230 worth. I've been using Honey for years. It saved me thousands of dollars. I couldn't imagine shopping online without it. And if you're not already using Honey, you're missing out on totally free savings. Go ahead and visit joinhoney.com/samcrack or just click the link in the description box and check this out. Everybody that has got Honey using my link, this one right here, has saved collectively over $1.5 million while shopping online, which is just insane. So I want to give a huge thanks to Honey for saving my audience a ton of money and for also sponsoring this video. So last time I was here, I accidentally backed up and drove over the rocks in my big pickup truck and like made a huge indentation. So I'm just fixing it up for them. All right, I kind of refuse to get had by the Ferrari dealership. So I'm here at European Exotic Center. Now they just moved here a few months ago on Del Mabry, if you're familiar with the Tampa Bay area. So this is like my hometown. I drive around here all the time. And I called them up, and it turns out not only do they have a Ferrari certified tech on staff, they also have a Koenigsegg certified tech on staff. I heard there's a Koenigsegg in there as well, so we'll probably check that out in a bit. But we're gonna get the 612 back there and see what they have to say about it. I'm pretty confident they're gonna like it, considering it's driven really darn good. It hasn't given me any considerable problems over the last few hundred miles. And I mean, just look at that thing, it looks amazing. Is this like the finest specimen you've ever seen? I'm sure.
One of the finest.
One of the
finest. The higher mileage are the best running cars we've ever seen.
Oh, it's not condition.
Condition, not so much.
Okay.
But they will run the best.
I think it's in great condition. I will let you take the floor and let's look at what a pre-purchase inspection here at European Exotic Center looks like.
Normally we'll do a road test, quick road test. And we'll get in the air. If it's got a belly pan or something like that, we'll take that off, check for fluid leaks, check for, damage. And then once I finish up, I'll get the Ferrari scanner and I'll just scan it for codes and scan it for, anything weird or abnormal that I notice.
All right, so road test is first? What do you think about these things? These Rolls Royces?
I wasn't a fan, and then until recently when I started working here, they're nice. I like them.
You do?
They're just very expensive if you need to any repairs, and it seems to be like the air suspension and all that. A lot of it is, of course, people are going to go to the dealership, and it's 10, 15, 20 grand.
Yeah. So it's funny because everybody complains about the F1 transmission and like the 360s and just let's say the old Ferraris, it's the worst. But in the 360, it still shifts like somewhat quick, I'm going to say.
Yeah, the 360 is not too bad, especially like at full throttle, it'll shift quicker, but
this one is
definitely, this one's a little lazy. That's just kind of how they are. 430 is usually, are the better shifting with the F1.
And you hear everything clunking around. There's no cup holders in this car.
Nope.
This is a Grand Touring car without cruise control and cup holders, and I'm flailing around, just stuff's falling everywhere because there's nowhere to put it. But you are in a cool, good-looking interior is really, I think, the selling point of this car.
Yeah, the tan interior is always a plus. Pretty much. I prefer black interior, but it seems to be for retail side of it.
Yeah.
Tan interior is preferred.
I agree with you on the black interior.
It doesn't feel too bad.
I'm telling you, I was expecting, again, this came from Vegas, I was expecting the worst from Vegas.
So it's sight unseen?
Totally. I put in a proxy bid, so it's like you could be away from the computer and it bids for you. It's like the worst thing ever at the auction. Don't ever put in a proxy bid, but just because the computer system's the way they do it, if you put in a $30,000 proxy bid, let's say, and the auctioneer starts at $30,000 on the dot, well, it will take your proxy bid and boom, you win it. Like people that wouldn't even bid 22 for it, So it's screwy how they have it. Considering the price that I got it for, which we'll talk about in a bit, and the time frame I bought it at, it was like in April or of last year when all the car prices were depressed. I think it was a really, really good deal, even considering the type of Ferrari that it is. Probably not the most desirable, definitely not the least desirable, I think.
Some of these, we don't get too many of these cars to sell, but the ones we get, they sell kind of quick.
Yeah.
And it's...
Well, it makes you feel special, specifically, I think, because of the interior. It's got the more modern Ferrari interior, and it is, again, since it's not the most desirable, they don't sell for $200,000, $180,000.
Right.
Even with the manual transmission, I don't know. This car, I feel like just the size of it and the way the engine feels programmed, unless you were to grossly change something, I don't know how much a manual, well, the manual would benefit from it, from the fact that you wouldn't have those crappy shifts.
Right. Probably shift a little faster than this one.
Yeah. Oh, don't remind me. Here, is this normal? Listen to these, or do they? Should those sound like that?
No, it's a little loud. Yeah,
so I have that.
Loud.
I have the check engine, which I've scanned, and I think, what sort of Ferrari scan tool do you guys use?
The Leonardo.
Okay, so you'll be able to tell what it is.
Yeah.
My scan tool came up with something that coincides with the warm air conditioner, but check engine light, air conditioner, I don't know if that makes any sense.
We'll look at it.
Yeah, we'll get to that right now.
I just kind of go around, do a quick visual inspection before I get it up in the air. Make sure the lights are working, turn signals work, hazards work.
How does the drive go, Sam?
Oh, amazing. I think Tony loved it. I almost sold it to him on the way over. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Even though he's the Ferrari tech, I told him I'd take care of a few of the little, you know, little nags that were obvious.
Oh, yeah.
It actually looks a lot better than I was expecting.
Really?
Yeah.
I told you.
Nothing crazy obvious or abnormal. I mean, there's some, you know, some light leaks. Looks like oil filter's just there. I'm going to pull this cover off.
Okay.
Power steering line. The only, honestly, your probably biggest concern, leak like that, it's usually not a rear main, but it's the F1, the throw-out bearing.
Oh.
The seal. So.
Still need to pull the trans.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you got a lift,
Yeah.
you know?
Hey, Ron. Yeah, definitely.
Pulling a transmission on a mid-engine car, definitely, you know, not a big problem without the lift, but on
Yeah.
no
These
fun.
ones still aren't very fun. Not the easiest ones to do, but definitely much harder without a lift.
If this is a two-person job, how many people does it take to take the transmission out?
It can be done with 2.
Two.
But 3 or 4 helps.
Where do you want this? Just on the
Put it
floor?
right down. Yeah.
Okay.
Overall, looks pretty dry. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Usually, you know, Ferraris have that entire huge splash shield that catches all sorts of fluids, so you don't even see it until it's like way too late, you know?
Right. Yep.
I like the fact that you can actually just get the front half of this one done,
Yeah.
and then, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, shoot. Like I said, just a little bit, maybe from the oil filters, but it's not. None of the covers are leaking. Light power steering leak. One of the hoses somewhere. You know, maybe the throw-out bearing. I'll pull that off. It's just hard to tell usually.
Yeah. A little leak.
But minor leak. Shift solenoid gasket. Not really bad at all, honestly. Not bad for 99,000 miles.
No.
I mean, you said that previous owner kept up on maintenance, right?
Yeah, one owner, and you know, went to the dealership quite frequently in the last 10,000 miles. So
Pulling the trans, I mean, you're taking out basically everything you see. So exhaust, you know, obviously your mounts and everything here, but it's definitely a multiple man job. A lot of time, but it can be done.
and then this,
Definitely wouldn't recommend it on the ground, but
no, I wouldn't either. So realistically, we want to take the inspection plate off, see what we could see under there.
yeah, which I can do that now. It's kind of hard to tell, but that's likely
Yeah.
throw-out bearing.
Sure. No, I believe you. It's just that I don't want to believe you.
Right.
You know? Can you tell much about clutch life from the car looking at this versus the snapshot in the computer, or?
I mean,
Not really.
Visually,
No.
it's not really going to tell you much. So yes, using the scan tool, which we'll check.
Okay.
I'll check it for codes. We'll see what the clutch life is at.
Okay. So if I had decent clutch life, but I got a bad throw-out bearing, I might need to do a clutch if the stuff got all on there, right?
It's almost like not so much that, but it's kind of like
You might as
you're
well
in
do it
there,
while you're in there, yeah.
You're in there. Yeah. So it is a throw-out bearing
Yeah.
leaking, which
Amazing.
one of those things. Yeah, it's leaking now. Is it leaking very bad? No, but you don't want to get stuck.
And it's not like they make like a fluid you could put into a reservoir and like it just
Right.
seals that. That thing
Yeah.
is, yeah, no, I'm
No,
kidding.
it's
When it goes, it goes. And then when it actually like starts coming apart, car won't shift. Is that pretty much?
yeah. I mean, if it's
Yeah.
if it's not holding pressure, it just you're
Yeah,
stuck.
let's go.
You're
Yeah,
stuck in
okay.
neutral, so.
Common issue on Ferraris. I know
is.
it's a common issue on the 360. Even my car that didn't have that many miles on it, it was when you would spin it. First of all, it was seeping a little grease, and
Yeah.
it was making that noise whenever you spin it. So
Yeah.
replace it. I'm sure they make an aftermarket one that's better. Maybe not on
Yeah.
this.
There are a couple options.
Yeah. So that's our worst guy here. Otherwise, it needs what seems like an oil change, you know, just to replace the filters.
Yep. It looks like they've been on there a little while, so.
Is that the date on that? Look.
4/13.
Come on. Can't be.
Yeah.
Can't be.
Why else
4/13?
would they write it?
Telling me
So
that it hasn't
8
done an
years.
oil change in 8 years?
According to that.
Well, and you rarely ever see weeping out of, like a car that just gets regular oil changes, you don't see that.
Right. So
Damn.
it would make sense.
What sort of additive don't put the camera down. What sort of additive should I put in for, you know, just to like make things nice? What do you like?
I don't recommend any additives.
No additives?
No additives.
Isn't it
Not
like a
on these.
Ferrari thing? You do
Just
like.
the 599s.
I mean, look at this. Look, turn around. This is a Ferrari. This is common, guys. You see the kitty litter on that? Okay,
Oil
it's just
leaks.
it's a common thing. I saw two 360s in the back. You know, what were they in here for?
One we just Trade-in.
Okay.
So I haven't looked at it yet, but the other one, it did have a rear main seal leak, so.
We know all about that.
Yep.
But that's crazy if that's how long that's been in there for.
I mean, they look old, so, and then you have your leak, so.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm surprised that it's not even worse than that, but.
Right.
Well, or did it sit the last 7 years? Yeah.
Let's hope. Hopefully they weren't driving on this oil. But.
Yeah. And that's the next thing. What does the oil look like?
Yeah.
Bearing material? I don't know. We'll see.
Hopefully not.
Okay, suspension. Tell me a little bit. I don't know if you see anything there, anything worn out. I don't know if the prior wheels, like I said, rode really bad. And I want to attribute that to an old tire. And as we're seeing here with this 413, maybe the tires were super old and rode bad. But 100,000 miles, stock suspension, anything worn, we're seeing anything.
Yeah, I mean, mainly you look for, on this one, you got not so much bushings, but just see if there's any fluid leaking.
Mm-hmm.
So, this side looks good, just kind of, this one's leaking a little bit, right? You can see it kind of at the bottom there. So that one would give you issue at some point.
So that's a replacement shock in that case, but you do the pair.
Yeah. Best way to do it. The timing belts do look kind of old.
The timing belts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just visually. I mean, they're not cracked, but that's not something we go off of.
Or when we do timing belts, what else? Bearings that go along with it?
Yeah, we'll do the tensioner bearings.
Okay.
Obviously drive belts, and then at that time, while you're in there, you check for, any other oil leaks or obvious areas of attention. So,
okay.
Pretty straightforward.
So like it could have cam seal leaks, stuff like
exactly.
that.
Valve cover leaks, things like that. So.
I'm having flashbacks.
Come on, here, I got a good look. No, look, it's slinging it. Slinging it. We got a massive oil leak, dude.
And so we got that then, and you're talking about taking the valve covers off, which is another gasket job, taking the camshafts out, resealing. Okay.
Yep.
It's, 100,000 miles, okay? Give it a little
Wouldn't
break
hurt to
here.
check, but,
No, those timing belts, they look, I mean, if you're doing all this stuff, you might as well. You especially, not me doing it, but you doing it.
Yeah, I mean, probably recommends replacing every 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years. And I think that's the 3 year, I think is crazy.
It is. I agree.
Unless you're putting 20,000 miles a year on it or something,
exactly.
But the 5 year, I kind of get. So
5 to 7,
And considering
seems more realistic.
The oil filter, which I keep going back to, says maybe
8,
it
9
should.
years
Yeah.
at this point, which is wild.
Cool.
That is wild. Yeah, I just look around the car.
Yeah.
See if there's anything obvious cosmetically.
I like when I see stuff like this personally, especially when I'm buying kind of an unknown, because it means somebody didn't mess with it.
Right.
At 100,000 miles, you expect to see stuff like that. When it looks crummy and it's touched up, then you start to look everywhere. So.
Right. Which honestly, the front bumper doesn't look like it's been repainted, so that's a plus. Overall, like I was looking earlier, it looks pretty good.
How old? Look at this screen. How old is this thing?
Man, I'm not sure. I know this one is definitely older.
But
this one's definitely.
It's older, but this is this is what's called a Leonardo. It is a real Ferrari scan tool. The stuff that I use is pretty capable in some areas, but this will tell you the real deal. All the check engine lights. A lot of the systems that you try to read, especially with these older cars, with a off-brand scan tool, it just isn't capable of doing it. So over here, I'm assuming you're going to see everything wirelessly.
Yep, we're going to choose our 612. I'll just do a quick test, just check, every module in the vehicle, just kind of see what we got initially.
So before this was in here, what were you working on?
Today?
Yeah.
I was helping Marty with this 308 major service.
Cool. Oh, and this is going to go in the showroom.
Correct.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, it looks mint.
Yeah, it's a nice example. Just making sure maintenance is up to date. That way the new buyer can drive off and not have to visit us for.
So, and that's the reason you come to European Exotic Center. So everything here, I was just talking to Cassie and the social media guy, and I said, well, where are you getting a lot of these cars from? Nothing comes from the auction. And not to get super convoluted, but I remember talking to someone back in the day. When I first heard about auctions, I go, hey, can you find me a cheap Porsche at the auction? And he goes, yeah, cheap one, but like there's no reason for a good Porsche to be at the auction. That's what he
Right.
told me. This is like a long time ago. So can you get lucky at the auction? Sure. I think that this, even with our problems so far, I think it's pretty lucky buy personally, but it's not like amazing, right? Like you buy this and it still needs what we're finding out to be $10,000+ worth of work so far. So this, does that have anything to do with the AC blowing warm, the first one?
It very may well be.
Okay.
Because if that sensor is, you know, not reading correctly, it doesn't know if it's gonna want to keep the pressure on or off, the
Yeah.
AC compressor, so it'll just shut it off as a safety precaution.
Okay, so when I got the car, it did blow cold air, but it was active with the check engine light. That's the same exact code I got. And I replaced the battery because it was clearly cranking over weak, tested weak. Replaced the battery, cleared the codes, and it went off for like a couple days, came back. So it seems like an intermittent code, and now the air is blowing warm. So clutch wear, you go ahead and tell them about the clutch wear.
It just reads clutch wear. It's just something the ECU interprets like touch points and like distance, I guess you could say, and it just reads it as, you know, clutch already worn, and this one is 59% worn. So there's, you know.
So it's actually 60% worn, not 60% left. So if we were dropping the transmission to do the throwout bearing, you got to put a new clutch in. It would not be worth taking it down twice.
Right. Yep, that's what we recommend.
If it was at like 80 or like 20% worn, you could.
Yeah, I'd say roll
whatever,
with it.
yeah.
If the leak gets worse, then deal with it.
Yeah.
But, you know, just kind of
Do it.
But yeah, not too bad.
I hope you're ready for some work.
Ready for it.
I'm going to talk Cassian into, the work special on this one.
We're always ready.
You guys got like a special going on. Do an oil change, get a clutch free, right? Something like that?
Yep, any make or model.
Right? Hey, when you cleared the code, the AC got cold.
Did it?
Well, I mean, it's colder
Cooler.
than it was by a lot, and
Yeah.
it's stationary too. All right, Tony is going to go write this all up for us. And I asked him, like, what do you drive? Tony told me he's into Japanese cars, of course. And I'm like expecting a Toyota Camry. Look, that's Tony's car right there. So Tony, you got to show us that after we're done seeing the damage on the 612. When I was shopping Lamborghini parts, you see a lot of takeoffs on anything. Just this guy right here.
Well, it comes with the car.
Well, the headlight itself, yeah, it's from a Nissan, right?
Yes.
But just this carbon piece, I want to say is like $800 or $1,000 used for set, yeah.
And it covers like the Nissan logo, I believe.
Oh, is that all done?
Yeah. No, like it's literally only there to cover the Nissan logo.
Yeah. So yeah,
So-
fun fact,
Fun fact.
Nissan headlights. I know we already told you, but European Exotic Center is Koenigsegg certified. Ferrari and Koenigsegg certified. Look what they got right here. Cassian, tell us a little bit more about this.
This is a Koenigsegg CCXR Special Edition. It's one of two ever produced. I believe the other one's over in Russia somewhere over in Europe. And it's basically built off the CCX. However, it has runs on bioethanol fuel. This one, the Special Edition, was the first Koenigsegg to actually use their own paddle shift transmission. And then also, if you can't tell already, it's fully exposed carbon fiber. Also, I quite like these little blue accents that kind of match the lip and the headlights. And it produces 1,018 horsepower, twin supercharged V8.
Was it
And,
V8?
Yeah.
V8. My car's got V12.
Not as good as your car.
Really?
No.
I brought you a nicer car. I don't know.
Yeah.
This bodywork is just incredible. Just seeing this, like, the way the carbon weave is, how perfect it is, and then I'm sure there's some sort of clear over it, but it's just outstanding in person.
Yeah, and it's got these cool little vents right here. And also the roof comes off. So Koenigsegg's, I believe all Koenigseggs, the roof does come off, so it becomes a Targa. Nice little feature there. And then the CCXR badge here, just full carbon inside as well. Speedo says 260 miles an hour, so you kind of get a sense how fast it is. And then part of the engine is also exposed, which I quite like. Of course, tons of carbon inside. And so this car is here for service. It's been here for about 2 months now, but really it's just because parts are stuck over in Sweden because of everything going on. And like I said, we took it out on the road a few weeks ago, and it was just insane.
Take it out a little later, right?
Yeah.
After we get
Dude,
fixed.
I'm ready.
I'll drive?
Yeah. Just got in this really pretty, classy blue Bentley. Continental convertible. Got a 430 Scuderia, one of, if not, I'd say a top 5 driving Ferrari.
So this car was here for one day. Bought it to retail, and it sold within 24 hours. And you could just tell, I mean, this, Sage, you're a little close, okay, with the camera, but the paint condition, just look at how immaculate this car is. It is incredible. And in my opinion, these are, they're like the best Ferrari value, and they've crept up quite a bit in value, but the 360 Challenge Stradale actually costs a little bit more than this, and this is just like a way better car all around.
Better transmission, better. I mean, the Stradale does sound, I think, even crazier than this car, but I think as an overall package, yeah, this is hard.
Do you know, and I've heard this, so they're going to tell us if we're wrong in the comments, but do you know why the Challenge Stradale is more expensive than this? They released the actual production numbers of a Challenge Stradale. So you know that there's a finite amount, like very few. They didn't make a lot, right?
No. Yeah.
And they say they don't make a lot of these, but they never actually release the production numbers.
Geez, you're right.
So in theory, they think that there's a ton more of these Scuderias than there are Challenge Stradales, and that's why the Challenge Stradale costs more, just because it is rarer, even though the numbers don't exist.
I've been in this industry for 4 years, but I've never seen a Challenge Stradale.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of these. Never seen it come through anywhere. I've never even seen it at a car show. You never see them.
Yeah, they are very, very rare. Cool classic Porsche, but there's going to be somebody that wants to know a little bit more about this. Quite possibly the cleanest used XLR anywhere. Cassian told me a little bit about it. Go ahead and tell them.
This is easily the highlight of the entire place.
Yes.
But, not going to lie, this is a super clean spec. I think it's got like 2,000 miles on it.
2,000?
07?
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, I think it's a cool looking car. I'm not gonna. I mean, I think it's.
Oh yeah, these were really cool. They got the heads-up display. What year is this?
07. I believe.
07.
Yeah.
So like in 07, they were trying to say that this is the Cadillac Corvette, and it's really not.
I remember that.
But it is something that looks totally different. Again, something that was super underappreciated at one time has come back up in vogue, and is a really interesting looking car. But most of them that you see, they got 120,000 miles. They're beat to heck. This is 2,000 miles. This literally looks brand new.
Well, that's why we don't normally pick up cars like this, but I mean, it was just such a clean example that it's hard to pass up on. Something like that will definitely sell.
Tony has the estimate on the 612, but before he gives me the estimate to repair absolutely everything, this is everything. It's gonna make the car like brand new, right?
Right.
Brand new with 99,000 miles.
Right.
Yeah. I want him to guess how much I paid for it.
Given the color, the year, the mileage, I don't know, 40, 50,000.
Well, that's a big spread. Come on, 40, 50. Come on.
40 to 50. Okay.
All right, give me a pizza review number.
Well, that's only 1 through 10.
Well, no, you go to Peanut Gallery. You want just Peanut Gallery? You want to give a guess at how much I paid?
That's the thing. When you go into the older ones, it's not so.
42. 42. We got from the Peanut Gallery.
I'll say 45,000.
45,000. 33.
33.
Yeah, 33.
Wow.
But to be fair, it was during the pandemic. So, all right, now let's go to the car. Let's talk about everything you wrote up for me.
From the start, that sticky buttons in the interior. It is due for the timing belt service.
Freeze. What is your remedy for sticky buttons?
That is an in-house secret.
Really?
Yes.
You do it here?
Yes.
Rubbing alcohol. Let's
Nope,
go.
Not
Next
quite
thing.
rubbing alcohol.
Tell me how many hours that would take you to rectify my sticky button situation. Can you even tell me that?
Kind of hard to say, but average is 4 to 8 labor hours.
Okay. There's a lot of sticky buttons in there. There are. Well, sticky air vents.
Yeah, it's basically just removing the parts to clean them up properly.
Everything's wrapped in leather, so if you touch any sort of cleaner on it, then you mess with the leather.
Or if you take things off and you lay them on top of things, they get marks in it.
Yes.
So.
Okay, cool. So we got sticky buttons.
All right, timing belt service. Obviously, we would recommend it every 5 years, roughly. Our annual regular oil change, filters, fluid service, brake fluid, things like that.
How often do you recommend that?
Annually, once a year.
Once a year. We're going on 8 years.
8 years.
8 years. So the timing belts are at least 8 years old as well. So we're overdue on those two. Those are, in my opinion, the must of the group.
I agree. Our throwout bearing is leaking, so if you're taking the transmission out, you might as well replace that clutch. It is at 60% clutch wear, so you're in there. What's a little bit extra just to knock it out,
Yes.
to drop it again. Our rear shocks are leaking, so we would recommend replacement of those. Power steering leak, initially looks like a hose, maybe we probably want to diagnose that further just to make sure.
The shocks, is it something that you saw is still made by Ferrari and still available to buy new or not?
They are made by Ferrari, and I believe they are available. If you can find them, I think you should be able to find them.
Maybe. If
Yeah.
they're Ferrari parts, one shock is a fortune, and like you said, both the rear ones are leaking. So that's probably equally as expensive as a lot of the transmission work, I would guess. We'll do a little research in a
Yes.
second.
Our check engine light is on. We do have an evap leak, so you would want to diagnose
Yes.
that. So, and then our F1, the gearbox actuator is leaking, so that would just be RTV seal.
Well, that's cheap. RTV,
Yeah.
I know how much that costs.
Yes.
You like,
Honda Bond. Recommend Honda Bond on everything.
is this real thing? Honda Bond?
Honda Bond.
It is legit, and it is from Honda. I can't even believe you're showing. That's like a European car secret, everybody. They use Honda Bond on everything in here.
Yep.
That's why the fluid leaks are minimal comparatively to they don't have like Maserati Bond. That's like the worst bond you can buy. It lasts like 2 weeks and then you got to redo it. So if you're in and around the Tampa Bay area, you're looking at getting a pre-purchase inspection done, or you want to buy a sweet car, there's a bunch of them back here. Or if you just want to get something fixed on your severely broken Ferrari like mine, check out European Exotic Center. It's a stone's throw away from like Wesley Chapel, Land O'Lakes, Clearwater, St. Petersburg. Why am I listing out every single city in the state of Florida? Just come here if you've got an exotic car and you need some work done. Thank you very much for your help.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Who does he look like? He looks familiar, right? Who do people tell you look like?
I don't get it too often.
No.
Bradley Cooper, they say, but
Bradley Cooper, look at
highly
this.
disagree.
I really want to thank Bradley and all the guys at European Exotic Center. And now that we have a professional third-party opinion on it, and if you were listening real close, what do you think about the deal we got on the Ferrari 612? If you think it was worth it, be sure to hit the like button. Next up, we'll go through all the issues we have here and price out exactly what it will cost to fix at a shop like European Exotic Center, or what it might cost to DIY. And we'll definitely want to get the 8-year-old engine oil out of this car, so make sure you're subscribed. If you want to see the extended tour of European Exotic Center, there's a video link in the description box below. And I want to thank each and every one of you for watching today. I'll catch you very soon.